right. I think I got my camera set up there properly, even though we're not able to see my. You know what? This is what I'm doing. Ram right there. There we go.
Do you spend that much time in the mirror?
Man, I look at myself in the mirror every time I pass by it. Every single pass by it. In the department stores, I'm like, dang, I do look good.
Oh, see.
Anyways, make sure you smash that like and subscribe, and make sure you watch
gay,
and listen.
the
They're getting the.
That was gay.
What was gay?
That was gay.
You can't say gay anymore, anyways.
Oh, I'm saying that shit.
Good Lord. See, we're already starting on the wrong.
If we
foot.
was on Netflix, then yeah, we'd probably get canceled.
No, you gotta go a little deeper than that.
Deeper, okay.
All right,
We gotta start. If we're getting paid, then you getting canceled.
then you really gotta watch what you're saying. And we gotta make sure. Oh, we need our disclosure. Everything we say on this podcast has nothing to do with our guest whatsoever.
Yeah.
So let's just put that out there immediately. Nothing to do. It is not. We do not share values, or no, we share values, but we not share ideologies here.
Jose, we put that at the start of every show. Do you
What's
not
that?
know what
You do?
the drum and fife thing is for?
I don't even know what you're saying right now. Jump and fife.
Yeah, the little the thing that plays at
I
the
feel like
start
that's
of
racist.
every show.
I feel like it's racist. It's gotta be racist.
At the start of every show, I put up a disclaimer.
Oh, I didn't know that.
That's what that
Well.
during that little intro. That's what that is.
That's fantastic to know now. Thank you very much for letting me know. I had
He
no
doesn't
idea.
watch his own show, obviously. Austin.
I don't watch my own show. I'm like those artists that are like, I don't want to go.
I don't want to see myself.
I'm over here like posting our live video here at the same time, making sure my ringer is off. You guys ringers are off?
Yeah,
Because we're gonna.
man, I'm trying to drink. Man. I'm ready for the toast, man. Damn, like coming to this show to drink.
Yeah, you you cut my whole thing off right here. All right.
Oh, goddamn it.
So let me go through my list here. Thank you again for joining us this week on Politically Correcting Podcast, your weekly dose of PCP.
I guess this week
Because they didn't have their episode today.
Mhm.
The
The most
my
I
co-host
will say that is the most slept on show on the We the People podcast network is that PCP.
You know what it is? It's a what do you call it? Those movies that don't do well in the box office, but they really do really well when it comes out on DVD.
You call them,
sleeper hit.
did you call them the lifetime?
Cult classic.
They're like
Cult classic.
I don't know.
lifetime
You can't
channels.
incorporate two white dudes and the word cult.
They about to get shut down tomorrow. That's all you need
Come
to
on.
say.
Well, speaking of cults, our podcast is all about having drinks among friends.
Oh, yes, sir.
Do not do that in a cult because that's bad for you. But we have conversations amongst friends over a drink. The conversations you're having anyways. But we're going to have it in an open dialogue and on video. And you get to just see what it's like to be able to walk away afterwards. Still freaking friends. It's not that hard, people. Salud.
Let's go.
Cheers.
Cheers. Now, if you see what my guest is drinking, you'd be like, what the fuck? But I guess it works for this show.
We won't get on that quite
You
yet.
won't see it unless he shows you. You was like, wait a minute, is Tour de France out this bitch?
So I'm gonna start with my monologue here. All right. I am not saying that they're intentionally demoralizing and desensitizing the population through media, culture, censorship, and poor diet. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying they're intentionally trying to destroy the middle class, close our small businesses forever, force ownership of housing into government control, and transfer the majority of wealth to the world's wealthiest corporations and headphones. I'm not saying that either. I'm not even saying they're intentionally trying to divide us with fear and hatred and destroying nuclear families and their values. I'm not saying that. But if they were, would they be doing anything differently?
So what you're saying is if they were doing everything that you just listed that they were doing, the steps or the things that we're seeing.
If you wanted to do all that, would you do anything differently than what's happening
going on
today?
right now? Probably not. And I will say this just to kind of throw my little 2 cents in. It started way back in 09, 08 when
With your boy?
I mean, let's
That's my boy. I don't care what anyone says. I love Obama.
You was gonna say it. See,
I love Obama.
See, Jose, you be reading my mind.
I love Obama.
So I was trying not. Every time I talk about Obama, I get in trouble by my own people because that's the Messiah, right? So whenever the Messiah says anything, everybody black be like, did you see what Obama said? Oh my God, he just said what he just said. Well, what did he say? He just said a great speech. It sounded so good. It was great.
That's all it was. That's all.
But
It sounded
what
fantastic.
the hell did he say? Well, he said that the United States government was going to help out the housing crisis. In what way? With his policies. What policy? I don't know. Good. So I'm sorry, but Obama and his, was it the HARP?
Yep.
Okay, so that's where it started. Because with HARP, what it was supposed to do.
You're speaking over a lot of people's heads right now.
No, we're gonna. No,
I mean, I understand what you're saying. And
No,
I saw a
but
head
I'm
nod
gonna
over
bring
there.
him in. I'm gonna bring him
Continue.
in because what HARP was.
We're not yet. You got a while. We're gonna go through some stuff you don't want to be associated with quite yet.
HARP was supposed to be the bailout that the residential,
Right.
Families in America was supposed to receive after the other bailout,
Right.
TARP,
Right.
right? These things that when CNN put it on there, everybody just, oh yeah, it sounded real, blah, blah, blah. But when you look into the shit, there's never any oversight and there's never any real
when you think for yourself.
end of the corporate cronyism. You know,
absolutely.
So within that, Mr. Obama, which when you talk about generational wealth, it's always attached to real estate.
Always.
The
It has to be. You can't have generational wealth without real estate, to be honest.
You can't. So the buzzwords that we hear today, like equity, equitable opportunities, equity.
Are those buzzwords to you?
Buzzwords. I mean, my company's last chance equity, but that's a topic for another
Right,
day.
I was gonna say.
Right. So within Obama, the oversight that the people were supposed to get when they allowed the mortgage servicing companies to redo everyone's mortgage.
Mhm.
They didn't redo everyone's mortgage. They were finding little sneaky ways to take over people's properties and foreclose. The big guys come step on little people. In the end, that whole saying they say when America catches a cold, black people catch the flu. Under the Obama administration, through his entire 8 years, the equity within the black communities was disintegrated. And on top of that, the banks got away with murder.
That I definitely agree with.
Thank you.
I'm glad you had your own monologue there.
I was just filling in the blank because listen, so again, I was protecting you,
people don't
Jose,
realize. No, because people don't realize how far we've gotten with this type of mentality of this is going down to like there are things going down the drain, but it hasn't just started now with President Biden. Sorry, it didn't go through with President Trump either. It's been a cascade of effect through numerous presidents where we have found a long slippery slope of where is the money.
Yeah.
And it's certainly not in the hands of people that need it the most, in my opinion.
No. To go back to Mr. Obama when he was campaigning, he sounded so good. Promising.
The only president with swag, right? The only president with swag.
These banks, not in my administration.
But he hired them immediately.
Citibank.
Immediately.
They financed the whole case. They're telling
immediately
him.
He hired
they're
them.
telling this man what they want him to say. Like, yeah, you're gonna ring us.
Yeah, but you know that's what politics is. Once you get to that level, you're getting buku money from somewhere. Somebody is giving you a ton of money.
I want to ask Dan, when you were, what was it, 2008
Put a monologue in there.
or 9? Obama was around, right? Because you're much younger than I was, so it's a different feeling, right?
Right, you were 9 at the time.
Yeah,
so.
right.
It's when I graduated high school.
High school, right?
Yeah,
So it was a different feeling, though, right? Like you were around it in like the teenage aspect of it.
Oh, because I was just turning 18 at the time. All of my friends, they were so about Obama.
Obama was the
What high school? What high school?
Wayne Central.
And that's rural, though, right?
Right. And they were all about it.
He was the man.
Because that mentality is that Wayne, that kind of school would have been like F Obama, but they were all about Obama.
Oh, you mean the narrative now would say that?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, that's
All
what
right.
I was getting to that. Like,
absolutely.
fast forward
we'd
to
be
today.
Country, redneck country, Trump, Trump supported. So I went back and taught there, and one of my kids would drive his tractor to school every day. I mean, that wasn't out of the norm even when I was there, but he, without fail, he'd show up on his tractor every single day. But yeah, no, we wouldn't like your people, Lavelle.
Yo, listen, that's red.
That's not true, though.
No. That's redneck
Yeah.
right there.
That sure is.
But that is the
But they
biggest.
were all about Obama.
But see, that's the thing. That's the biggest lie ever. Is that rural America would not love him? Everybody gave this motherfucker a chance.
They almost voted him as much as President Biden. Almost.
See why you?
Let's get into the articles of the week before we get too far. Because I got to go through the weekly. I got to go through the weekly COVID update. We got to have like a plaster thing, like dun, dun, weekly COVID update. Severe illness and death. Pull up.
Oh, it's back.
Pull up your boy. I got to pull up Laval's boy here.
Holy shit! There's my guy.
Biden warns of winter of severe illness and death for unvaccinated due to Omicron. Remember, this is December 16th, 2021. Remember, that's what he said. Severe illness and death.
He talking to himself?
I guess. And then the meme. I do love this meme. I think it's pretty funny because I'm older and I know Mr. Bean. But it says when it's the final day of winter and you're waiting for the severe illness and death. This guy, he's been quiet. I haven't seen him anywhere.
They can't bring him up, man.
They
So they brought out the tweets from Barack, Kamala, Hillary.
Hillary got COVID now.
Yo, I saw the dopest meme, right? They
And Psaki
yo
again.
These some lying motherfuckers, yo. So Hillary puts out the tweet and says, "Oh, we're looking for some good movies for Billy Boy because
He probably saw it on mine.
in quarantine." And they put up the movie. What's the movie with
13.
Yes.
Oh man, I posted it. Good Lord.
Yes.
I don't even know what it's called.
That shit is funny, yo.
Look at me. I'm going through mine now. You know what? I'm not going to go through it. You guys look for it yourself. Go on to @politicallycorrecting on Instagram.
I need a really far left liberal to like really explain the actions of these fucking former leaders in that party. Can we I like to compare politics to the NFL, right? You know how the NFL right now, they're trying to find the youngest, like new, vibrant head coach. Like, you know what I mean? The LA Rams, their coach
They're getting
is
younger
like,
and younger.
they're getting why the hell we still got these same like carcasses up here, like leading the way for these people?
In politics?
Yes.
Yeah.
Like why?
Because people are afraid of change. And when we're talking about the people, we're talking about the actual people. In the NFL, those are privately held companies. They own the entire team. So it's not the people that are talking. It's not the fans. The fans don't get any say in who they're going to hire as the coach. But unfortunately, in America,
You thinking another? You're starting a whole nother.
You are. This is your team, right? The Democrats are your team. The Republicans are your team. Independents, Green Party, whatever the hell it may be, that's your team. You get to pick who your head coach is going to be. But the problem is, a lot of that is based on how many times has that person gotten in front of you, whether it's person to person, in writing, on social media, in your newspaper, in a news media. How many? You have to touch a person 7 times before they vote for you. That's how Biden won.
That's how Biden won, boy. They told
That's
Joe
not where I was going.
They
with
told
it.
Joe,
Yeah, but now where I
she's
was going with
15, she can't vote, but you said
Now
you
where I was
gotta
going with
touch
that.
him.
Not where I was going with that.
Just sniffing their hair.
Good Lord. Goes to the
Come
next one.
on.
Pediatric death recount. The CDC decided that their information was wrong.
Again?
24% less pediatric deaths recount by the CDC.
Yo, why are we doing this still?
So they dropped the death count by just the young kids. Remember, 12 and under, pretty much, by 24%. They said that they're nope, not the Zelensky one. That's gonna come up later. I got something for Zelensky as well.
Who's that?
Ukraine president.
Guy. You know that all the middle.
Oh, that guy. Oh, yo.
You know what? Even if he can't pull it up himself, don't ever just trust me. Always look for yourself.
Never
Always do your own research. Like don't ever listen to me or Lavelle.
People don't have
or
time
Dan.
for that. You want to know why, Jose?
Yeah, but they should.
This is what's in front of their
They
Google
should.
search. These are the apps that's in front of their Google search. Facebook, Instagram.
Do a Google search. Go ahead,
Hold
Austin.
on. Instagram,
CDC updates.
Facebook, Pornhub.
Yeah, right. CDC
Then
updates
Google
pediatric
search.
deaths. Something along those lines.
Then Google search.
Because I don't ever
Then
talk
the
about stuff that you
documentary.
can't find on Google. Because I know someone out there is going to say, "Oh, you're spreading misinformation." Blah blah blah. Well, let's see right there, right?
What do they vote for then?
CDC reports fewer COVID-19 pediatric deaths after data correction. I'm not lying to you. 24% decline in pediatric deaths after we just went through all this nonsense of whether kids should be masked up at school or not, whether kids should be still going to school or not. And they just dropped it and said, oh, we had our data was wrong.
Yeah.
So we're not even going to talk about that because we don't get
No,
we don't
we
wanna get
should,
freaking
Jose. We
canceled
should
yet.
because at the end of the day, you got so many people that are analytical.
I love
they
that.
are especially analytical in one direction. Not going to say that what that direction is.
Probably the first half, right? The ANAL.
Yes. And with everything that they do, they want to look at the data. They want to trust the science, and the science is telling them something, but it never fucking comes back to the conversation. What about when you guys
Oh,
said,
to the guest, you can swear, by the way.
oh yeah, don't worry. He's
It looks like he's chomping at the bit to say some things during our conversation.
very politely, though. I don't think he drops an F-bomb. I hope so.
I've got confessions. So.
Oh,
There
he
you
got confessions. Oh shit.
Not yet.
Don't
We gotta
do
give
it
the
yet,
grand
man.
entrance in a second because
But-
we have to. Well, we have to go to the next one. Kyrie Irving.
Kyrie.
Bring up the Kyrie Irving one.
Yeah, it's a very
This man is not allowed to play basketball in New York City, but he can go to the game maskless, sit in the stands watching the game, hugging up, slapping up his former teammates, but he can't actually play in the game because of the COVID rules.
How much you want to bet that changes playoff time?
Oh, of
Oh,
course.
100%.
Of course.
100%. When is playoffs for NBA?
It's actually
couple
May.
months.
Yeah, around
Yeah.
May.
All right, so after March Madness.
Yeah, definitely have March.
I
You
would
know-
think it would change during March Madness because we got some team, right? There's got to be like one New York team in March Madness. I don't watch basketball.
Well, the NBA is like a attention whore, right? So they do everything for attention. Before, when
They're the
racism
Kardashians
was-
of the sports.
Yeah, they are definitely.
All right.
They are the Kardashian family, 100%. Everything is about attention. When racism came out again, you know what I mean? They had Black Lives Matter first planted on every. LeBron James. Oh, I'm afraid to be black. I'm a multi-billionaire with a security detail. I'm afraid to be.
Your
a black
impersonations
man.
are so spot on.
Oh, you
You sound just like him.
Play basketball. I'm playing a kid's game, and I'm getting paid billions of dollars in a country I can't do it anywhere else. Blah 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 blah. Yo, these motherfuckers are nothing but attention whores. I don't watch NBA anymore because it's really Harlem Globetrotters. It's a show. It's a
No,
show.
it'll be Harlem Globetrotters if LeBron finally decides that he really is the female that you think he is, and decides to go play in the WNBA.
Oh, Brittany Griner. That's who he is.
Now,
No,
can you
he's a-
imagine LeBron playing in the WNBA?
LeBron is a bitch because he protected China before he protected the
Nice-
country he was
nice
making
segue there.
billions.
Well, and for everyone that doesn't remember, in 2006 when LeBron came here and they played an exhibition game with the Toronto Raptors, he got up off the bench, stood up, everybody cheered for him at Blue Cross Arena. You're
Mhm.
thinking he was going to come in the game, sat back down.
He's a bitch. That's what bitches do. It's a bitch ass move.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
he's paid.
Yeah, but at the same time, you paid in the country and you protected China. Some people got to watch what they say. They have repercussions.
That's
Upon
Shaq,
what they
dude.
say.
You're
No,
sounding like
this is
Shaq.
LeBron too.
You
This
got to
is
learn how
LeBron
to
too.
do these impersonations a little better. A little better.
I get the ball. I pass to Kobe. Kobe never passed it back. I shoot a free throw, brick it. So what?
That's
Brick
Shaq.
it.
LeBron is fake ass intelligent. See, we've been oppressed for 27,000 years. Okay. And I'm tired of it. I can't walk down the street with my son. I can't
It's a
go
little
outside to the grocery store.
It's a little better.
I might get shot tomorrow. Like, yo, LeBron, dog, stop it.
To be fair, though, California is a shithole.
But you're LeBron James.
Yeah,
You
where
you
LeBron James is, it's
are
not a
the
shithole.
shithole.
Dig.
So
You-
our we've gone way too long with our. I did not even get through half of what has happened in the past week.
Because you bring up touchy, you bring up shit that you see throughout the week.
I
Because
trigger
every day,
you. Do I trigger you?
yes, you do.
Yeah,
And
that's what
every
it is.
day it be triggers that I just be like laughing at. I just scroll through like, oh, that's some bullshit. And just keep going because I can't waste my fucking time on
Look at
just
Here's
dumb gay shit.
We got to that third line. I have all of these still ready to go, but Laval has over there.
Because you
Do
bring
terrible.
up shit. Like, yo, nobody would like, yo, you already know. Like
That's fine. I don't
LeBron is a bitch.
Every week we're gonna have more content. Trust me, I do not care about any of this.
It just
because
keeps coming,
It's gonna
though.
keep coming.
It
Because
keeps
it's complete
coming.
nonsense.
Yeah.
Every single time. Every
It's a
single week.
distraction. It fucks up the show.
Tell me what you want to say about Zelensky, and then let's talk about our guest.
About Zelensky?
Yeah.
Oh man, what do I want to say? No.
How he has a little drag
No,
video.
because I do think this is wrong. Censorship and totalitarianism is always wrong. And this man right here, who a video of him just recently came out again, like everyone knew of it, of him dancing in high heels. I don't care.
Mhm.
I don't care. He can dance all he wants. He can be wearing whatever the hell he wants. I don't care. But as soon as you suspend political parties over what you believe are collusion claims, remember, and this is where the person that can see down the middle comes into play. Trump also had Russian collusion claims, and it was found out that it was Hillary Clinton's people that actually made it up. Here we have Kremlin collusion claims, including one led by the father of Putin's goddaughter, as he signs to decree merging all national TV channels into one platform. Why? To me, this screams why, right? So some people, they're going to see Daily Mail and they're going to be like, oh, go crazy over that. I'm looking at this and saying, okay, did he suspend 11 political parties? You tell me that all 11 political parties are suspended, and because you heard allegations about collusion claims, and then on top of that, you want to merge all national television channels into one? That screams there's something going on. I'm not saying that there is. What I'm saying is a rational human being would see that and say, that doesn't sound right. We're saying that this country is independent and they're democratic. This is not what an independent democratic country does.
What have
No offense to any Ukrainians out there, because I already know someone's going to take
we
that
don't
snippet,
listen, no,
cut it
you know
up,
what?
put it into
Ukraine,
something.
whatever. We don't care about nobody's feelings.
I'm not
All that
there.
feeling
All I'm
shit,
saying
we're
is
done.
this is sketchy. It's sketchy.
It is.
That's sketchy.
It is. And you got to ask a question. Throughout history, when certain leaders are put in position to lead, are they really the ones that's leading? Because this guy's a fucking actor. So how
He played a political president.
Right, you're acting the role that you
Do I look
studied
like him
for.
right now? Does that look like me?
No.
All right, good.
No.
Because I don't want to look like Zelensky. I'll dance in high heels. I don't care.
And you would definitely win.
probably-
And like you would beat him up. He's a weak looking dude.
The bottom right guy, definitely.
Before we go any further, I just checked my phone, not to fuck up, not say I wasn't paying attention to what you were saying, because obviously we're in the mid conversation. You must have some fucking crazy power, because Kyrie Irving just got cleared to play because New York State just rolled back the vaccine laws tomorrow.
Their weekly
He's playing tomorrow. He's starting
There we go.
with KD. They got a game against
Somebody
LeBron.
was watching this podcast.
I don't know if they play.
They're watching this podcast because they said, "Oh shit, they got this guy on coming up as our guest." I'm about to introduce him.
Wait till y'all see
They
this
got him coming
motherfucking
up.
mustache. It's like
And they all know this.
Yo,
mustache.
remember
It's
that
like
show?
the road infamous.
remember the movie Gangs in New York? And
Yes.
he's got
Yeah.
a shank or something. He's like 1908 right here, like fucking 1899.
Dude,
gang
if you
leader.
can shank Leonardo DiCaprio, I would love for you to do that.
You say
because it's-
Crapio?
Yeah, I said DiCaprio.
Wow.
Because the man is going around floating on a freaking mansion on the water, riding around his private freaking plane, and crying about global warming. I'm not.
Oh, okay.
I don't
You
want
got
to
a
hear
right
that.
hate.
I don't want to hear
That's
that.
not hate. That's not hate.
I don't want to hear that from you.
You environmentalist motherfuckers.
I'd rather listen to that 12-year-old than him.
Yeah.
How
That's
dare you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That environmental argument is a doozy one, yo. It's a lot of smart motherfuckers on that one.
Bro, I can't even get into it because there's so much. We got a whole nother episode to go through with that.
You got a
one.
guest in here too.
We do have a guest, and
Dude.
I know he's itching to get on. Not just his mustache, not just his upper
The
lip is
mustache
itching to
is
come on.
mean.
But let's bring our
But the
gentleman on
drink.
here. We
Oh
got
wait, what
Conor
happened?
Dwyer Reynolds here,
The drink.
the executive director.
That's right.
That means you're executive
Mm-hmm.
of the PAB, Police Accountability Board, here in Rochester, New York. That is an amazing position.
It's wonderful to be here.
That's fantastic that you are here, because trust me, I love the fact that all your handlers called me to make sure that it was.
Wait a minute. Is it wonderful to be
There's,
top of that board?
There's some bad blood, right, between city council and the.
I don't
board?
think so. I don't think so.
No,
That's not
no.
your, not yet. You jump right into it.
So you
Jump
go, we
right in,
getting
trying to
in.
stir
Yo,
up
we
that
got a lot
drama.
of shit to
Trying
talk
to stir up that
about.
drama.
No,
I hope he
answers.
knows. We
I'm
got
gonna
a lot
say
of
that
shit to
there's
ask.
not bad blood. I'm gonna go ahead and say from my point of view, I know there's not bad blood with me, even though I had my own beliefs on it. But
Mhm.
this man is the executive director of the PAB, Conor Dwyer Reynolds. I appreciate you coming on so much more than you would ever even know, because so many people out there will talk and never be able to come on and have a legitimate conversation amongst men or women.
Right.
And be able to sit there and say, look, this is how I feel. This is what I believe in. This is what I do. This is who I am.
I'm going
To
to go
me,
on
that's
a limb.
crazy to me. So I appreciate you coming on.
Yeah. I'm going to go on a
So thank
limb
you.
and say, I think this man has balls for coming on this show.
Yeah, hell yeah, he
Because
does.
Am I gonna get
In
checked?
today's world, to say that a man with a beard might have some balls, it might be the wrong thing to say.
He has a hell beard. He's got this mustachio.
He's got the mustache. I think this is a man.
Are we
But
gonna
if
go with
our new Supreme Court says I'm not a biologist, I don't know the difference between
jumping
a man
all
and a
over the place,
woman.
this man right here?
But I'm just saying that's just the way it is. It's the
Our
world.
guest here, Conor. Let's talk about your upbringing. What created the man that we see here today? Who are you? How were you raised? Talk to us.
So I was born in the city,
Which city?
Rochester.
All right, fantastic.
Classic move from the city to the suburbs when you get to be school age. So I moved out to this little part of Brighton that's actually in the Penfield School District. Where Panorama Plaza is, like right up the hill. So
See, they paid more taxes for a
I
school.
do not know where that is. Panorama Plaza.
Panorama Plaza,
You know what Panorama Plaza?
I know.
Off
Wow.
of 490-ish.
Off of-
Does it have the old
490
Wegmans?
exit. No, it's where Tops is.
Oh, I'm
The
all
old
wrong
Tops
then.
in Penfield.
South of Webster.
Continue on. Sorry for the
Yeah.
interruption here.
So actually,
Man,
no,
I'm black, man. I'm from the hood. I don't know shit.
He doesn't go past 590.
So right, actually, so down that you go on the hill into Panorama Plaza. There's
Yeah.
a trailer park. It is the largest concentration of trailer homes in Western New York. It's in,
Dang.
I
it's
didn't
in
know that.
Penfield. It's
I
right
didn't even
across
know
the street
that.
from that. I think it's a Land Rover dealership.
Dang.
Across the street from a Land Rover dealership.
Mhm, mhm. So that's where
Shit.
it was where my great grandmother grew up. My uncle lived there too for a while. So that's why I think we moved out there. I think a little bit. Is my camera off? I'm so sorry.
Yeah, just hit that button.
Thanks, Austin. Yeah, so I lived out there, mom, dad, sister, father. My dad worked at the U of R for like 45 years in the same job. He was in the print department with the printing the alumni magazine, and my mom was his secretary.
That's how it happens.
Yeah.
You were conceived in the office, huh?
So those are my parents, raised in Penfield, and then went to U of R because
Free ride?
exactly.
Oh man.
Yeah, that was the old
Man.
benefit until 2008. If your
Yeah.
parents worked there for I think 20 years or whatever, you got to go for free.
That's amazing.
So both me and my sister went there. Worked at the library there to get through because we still had to pay for food and housing and stuff.
Your
So
books, your $2,000
did all
books.
that. And then dropped out of college to go work for everybody's favorite president, apparently, President Obama. And
favorite.
hold on to this. And I was working on the communication strategy around HARP.
So you saw it all.
That's why he was
huh?
nodding over
Wow.
there in the corner. I'm like, oh, I think he got something
Well,
to
it's
say
because
about
he
that.
knew that shit. What I was saying was right. Because
You said the communication strategy?
Yeah. So,
They
so I
call,
mean,
some people call that propaganda.
no. So I mean, I'll be honest about it. I mean, I have lots of positive things to say about the president, but his presidency was a disaster in terms of housing.
Oh shit, man! Thank you. Can I shake?
I
your
did not
hand?
expect.
You wanted.
I did not
'cause-
expect
Yo,
I mean,
that's
that
what's
M. Night
up.
Shyamalan twist on that one.
No,
Yes.
it's true. I mean,
Yeah.
that it was. I mean, we bailed out the banks. We didn't bail out homeowners.
Right.
People got
Mhm.
screwed.
Yep.
Harp in hand. I was, I remember trying to sell that thing. Like we're trying to figure out a way, like this supposedly massive program. The vast majority of people who didn't even qualify for it.
Yeah.
People getting knocked out. There's
Yep.
all sorts of
Mhm.
bureaucratic issues with it, like classic government boondoggle. And we tried to sell it. And it was funny because we were talking earlier about how rural Americans voted for Obama. I mean, Indiana went for Obama.
Yeah,
Mhm.
they sure did.
And
Iowa.
Yeah, but he was from Indiana,
No,
wasn't
but
he?
the reason President Obama won his election campaign, I worked on that in the communications team. The reason he won that is because of the auto bailout, right? And the reason why, I'm serious. Go look at those Midwestern states, the margins there, and the amount of resources that campaign invested into Ohio, Wisconsin, Michigan, all right, over the creation of jobs through that
Mhm.
bailout. Now we can agree or disagree with the bailout. We all have different philosophical views, but that was in many ways a success. I don't think in the long term it was. We can talk about the reasons why it distorted the market and all that, but it's amazing that he was able to be reelected despite the fact that the generations of housing wealth were
Yep.
wiped out because of those horrible government policies. And again, I still love the president, but I think you have to admit the failures. And you talked earlier about no oversight. Absolutely.
None.
No. Go read the report of the Special Inspector General for TARP. Read all of the amazing crap that he was able to. Neil Borofsky was his name. Hero of mine, seriously, for government oversight stuff, talking about how awful that boondoggle was, and people did nothing about it.
Well, can we say Eric Holder though was a big reason though?
Yeah, I mean,
When you hire,
Within a half hour, these two are already agreeing. Did you
well,
imagine that?
no, I
Did
mean,
you
no,
imagine that?
it's. I mean, if someone can admit
fantastic.
the atrocities of Barack Hussein, Barry Soetoro Obama,
I'm not quite sure that's his middle name, but
oh
continue.
no, well,
not relevant.
Yeah, I didn't think so.
But it's something you throw in. But when you hire a Wall Street attorney to be our attorney general, that screams conflict of interest, right? Just saying, especially when you're dealing. I mean, you can say like the government doesn't do anything by mistake, right? And if your campaign is financed by the same people you're trying to regulate,
Right.
you're going to bring somebody that can kind of make everybody feel comfortable, right? Because I understand you got to keep the money flowing. I understand. I get it.
The economy.
The economy, right. Too big to fail. All that shit is great. But at the same time, you are heralded as the messiah of African Americans.
Yeah,
and I'm just saying, it's to me.
But he didn't do that.
He did do it.
He didn't do that.
He has to go. You have to. You are going to go up there.
I think
You're
people did
going
that
up there and
themselves.
doing your job. Your job is to articulate to the masses what the plan is, and they believe in you. They look at your little black face, your freaking family, and they trust that you are saying you're giving them your honest and true opinion. And when you talk about real estate, you talk about asset, you talk about everything that is thrown as a major value to African American community today. It starts with the housing, and within housing, blacks were literally left behind. And if you think about it, it makes sense, because at the end of the day, all of your houses are not worth what you think they are, especially if there's gunshots going around your neighborhood. So we have to be realistic within that. So don't sell pie in the sky, Obama. And that right there is one of the main reasons why I say he had my vote, because at the end of the day, again, when the housing crisis fell, he was saying all the right things. He was, and he was going at the big banks. But then when you look at the numbers where the money went, they were going to him from the same people. That's very deceiving. And that is not a true leader, in my opinion, when you want to be the first African-American president in the United States and don't represent the people that, let's face it, they voted for your ass. Black folks came to the fucking polls for Obama for the first time ever. We woke the fuck up and followed your dumb ass to the fucking polls, and you was a bitch in the end. A wolf in sheep's clothing. That's my end on Obama. Thank you.
So your dad?
No. I don't know. I just want to emphasize, because the Eric Holder thing is very important. I agree, that conflict of interest. Another thing that I was kind of responsible for, I was just a very small little person, right? I was like 20.
Take the responsibility.
No, but
please don't. You shouldn't.
No. But part of it was also selling people forget this, but there was supposed to be this big settlement that the Department of Justice negotiated over practices by banks in the mortgage market, right? And all these attorneys general signed on and stuff. And it was a sham. right? The banks, there was zero accountability. They got a slap on the
Yeah, it was
wrist.
a
and,
sli- yeah.
and we had to parade it as this like big accomplishment. It wasn't. It wasn't at all. It's just messed up because, you know, you want to talk about my dad, you know, my dad, right in the middle of that financial crisis, my family split up too, but like he lost so much of his retirement. He had to sell his home that he like worked his whole life to like invest in. I remember my dad used to have a sticky note of all the different heads of the banks on the fridge because he knew that those are the people responsible for his situation. Right. And here's the thing about Obama, because like I became as disillusioned, not necessarily with President Obama, but with the idea that like the smartest people in the room are going to the right people to be
Right.
leaders. But you know, the reality is, and this is a sad part of it, because it'd be sad one thing if we just chose the wrong leader, but it's even sadder if whoever we put in that position would have made that same decision, because the structures and people around them were setting them up to let the banks off the hook.
Oh, they would have.
Right.
They would have.
And that's what made that situation super depressing for me, is you can put the smartest, best, most educated, whatever person in that position, and they still end up making the wrong decision.
Or the other side,
will.
it could have been a Republican in that seat,
Yeah,
and they
No, that's
still
right.
would have made
That's
the
right.
same
Right.
decision.
No, that's right. That's
Yeah.
right.
Well, fuck.
That's
Look
right.
at Trump and COVID.
That's right.
He shut the country down. If you're
He did. I
conservative,
don't know about anyone-
if that was DeSantis,
Absolutely.
if that was DeSantis, you think he would have did the same shit Trump did?
Yeah.
right.
In that position, yeah.
Lockdown? They would have. Everybody, right?
Oh yeah.
But at
Because
the end of the day,
you're so terrified of being wrong that you're going to listen to other people who are in that position of power, or not power, in a position of mental power, really, to say that this is what you need to do in order to save yourself and this country. Because they're going to say, no matter who is in that position, this is what you need to do.
Yeah.
So,
I mean,
unfortunately, it was President Obama, which is, again,
Well-
my favorite president.
Well, at the end of the day, that was it. Like, to hear you give such an
Still.
insight on it, I don't think people really understands the magnitude of the decisions that they were making. Like, just like you said, your father's 401k's retirement was
Destroyed.
attached, like, because everyone felt that the real estate was such a safe bet, and it should have been. But when you're dealing with the Bear Stearns and the Goldman Sachs and the Merrill Lynch's of the world, the Bank of Americas that have so much money pooled in together, and you got shit money pulled in with good money, and then you got this shit of fucking economy that's about to blow up, and then you have these dumbass politicians that don't know shit about shit that's to feed this information to the people.
They really don't.
When they know for a fact though that these 401k's are going to get hit.
Yeah, but they don't know that.
No,
They don't know
knew.
finance. There's
No.
no way.
The politicians didn't know.
Yeah.
But the bankers knew.
Yeah.
And they went to the people who created the problem for the solution.
Mhm.
And they gave them the solution. They went to Hank Paulson. They went to what's the other dude name? The treasurer at the time.
Tim Geithner.
Geithner. He was the treasurer with Obama. The Bernanke.
Ben Bernanke.
Oh.
yeah.
So Ben Bernanke, Paulson, and Geithner, those three, all of them, same type of cut from the same cloth
Mhm.
to solve the problem for the little people who they don't give a fuck about from the beginning. And no one pushed back for the American people. And their job is to represent us.
They
and
did
not
push
them.
back. That's how we got Trump.
Well, after
The
I'm talking about
complete pushback.
I'm talking about the McCains and Obamas of the world
Okay, the people that were in power at that time.
at that time.
Yeah,
Yes,
I gotcha.
Yes, that's what I'm talking about. Those motherfuckers,
Mhm.
those are the ones you got in office because of us, allegedly. But then when we look at the numbers, like I said, when Obama got elected, you see Citibank, Bank of America, you know what I mean?
I'm sure they donated
Oh, they donated
shit ton of money.
millions.
Yeah.
So
That's
I-
what
I
runs.
appreciate-
That's the problem with politics,
Right,
is how
but-
much money you can raise, and that's the problem because I'm going through it right now
Yeah, right.
because they keep
Mhm.
counting me. You got to raise more money. You got to raise more money, and I'm sitting there like,
just gotta be a hoe.
I don't want to be a hoe though. I don't want to be a hoe. As much as I love looking at myself, I don't want to be a hoe.
No one wants to be a hoe.
But no, that's good information because I'm glad we started this way.
Yes.
Because this is exactly what this podcast is about. Because there's many people who were nothing against you at all, but there were many people who were upset that we were having Conor Dwyer Reynolds from the
Oh,
PAB
Come on.
on the Politically Correcting podcast, and all I said was, "This is what the podcast was made for. This kind of conversation is exactly what this podcast was made for." So I'm so excited that we've already found common ground there. You already told us about where you were raised.
Mhm.
Your parents decided to go to the highest taxed area and went to a shittier school. Nothing against
8
Penfield,
Mile. He was
Oh,
8
bro.
Mile of Penfield.
but
He was Eminem walking in that bitch.
No, but he didn't say. But were you in that area of Penfield that you were talking about?
Indy?
No, sorry. Were you in the trailer park of Penfield?
No. I
Yeah,
mean,
so
there,
he
but-
just
no, I
talked
mean,
about
so
it.
I mean, there were like class differences in Penfield, right? So the east side, like it's all the like the wealthiest suburbs.
But
right?
isn't that what most people want right now? Because I feel like a lot of people want us to be raising all these low income housing in the suburbs, which we have in Penfield, Pittsford,
Right.
Brighton. Isn't that what we want right now?
Right.
From your opinion, not from the PAB opinion, just before the handlers call me and say, those are not the questions that we said you're allowed to ask. That's
Yeah.
what we want. I'm talking to you now. Isn't that
Oh.
what we want? Is to put low income housing in areas of the suburbs where people can actually have a good education for their kids.
No.
What do you mean no?
No.
Why wouldn't you just want school choice then?
I'm
Like,
for school choice.
Let people live where they want to live and
Yeah.
send their kids.
Yeah, but there's no choice in that.
because there's no fix in the Rochester City School District. Let's be
That's
real.
not right.
But that's a whole different.
That's a
conversation.
whole different
Well,
conversation.
and also the city school district be acting like they fucking broke. Like just hire better people. You know? Like it
I'm gonna
is
bring.
it
You know what?
is.
I'm gonna get someone from the
Oh please.
Oh,
do.
city school board to come on. They ain't gonna come on. You know that.
We need them.
Anyways, what does police accountability mean to you? Tell me what it actually means, because there's a lot of people out there that
Right.
that believe that it means that we're gonna fire a whole bunch of police
Right,
officers,
right.
and it's because they were mean to people,
That we hate the cops.
and that you hate the
right
cops
now.
because you were at Stanley Martin's.
Well, but here's the thing: is first about that.
Do we know about this? Do you know about this?
No.
See, there's a lot of people out there that do not know about this.
What's
Oh,
what's
what?
up, man? You filling this in? We are just here
See,
for
the
the
thing
show,
is that
man.
people that
We
aren't in
just- we
politics
show up.
have no idea what we're talking about right now.
We
Here's
show
the,
up.
Here's the thing, Jose. When you're a government official,
Wait, hold on.
know
You gotta
this.
talk. You gotta
You know
gotta
this.
give.
You know this. When
All right,
we're- when
let
you're
me
a
tell
government
that. Let me-
official, because I'm sure I'm going to get criticized for being on this show. Someone's going to criticize
Which is
me.
crazy to
for-
me.
So what if
but the
they
thing-
do,
No, but that's the
man?
thing. That's what I'm saying. Is
Uh-huh.
that
You need more haters, man.
My job, and this gets to the police accountability part. We were just talking about how lack of accountability and transparency is what led to a huge government boondoggle that screwed over millions and millions of Americans, right? I want to ask you a question. Let's say that Mayor Evans came out tomorrow and said, or let's say, Councilmember Pio came out tomorrow and said, look, I want
Councilman Pio.
Councilman Pio came out and said, look, I'm going to invest $1 billion. I got $1 billion program to keep Rochesterians safe over the next 10 years. Okay. $1 billion. I'm going to spend
Love
$1 billion of taxpayer money on it. But
Love it.
the people, I'm going to appoint somebody to spend this money, and you just got to trust me that they're going to spend it right. Okay. You just got to trust me that they're going to spend it right.
Mhm.
And how we're going to keep people safe, I'm going to let that guy and whoever else he hires just figure out how to do it. Trust me, he's a pro. What would we, as people who are generally skeptical of government action, do?
Austin Powers.
It's not my money.
Austin Powers. How about no?
Yeah, but you said that it was $1 billion that Jose had. It's not
Yeah.
my taxpayer money.
Well, let's assume that it was. Let's assume that
Yeah,
you live in
then
the
I'd be
city.
with Jose.
Yeah, right.
How about no?
I think we'd all be in that position, right?
Right.
That's crazy. The reality is that over the last 10 years, the Rochester has invested over $1 billion in the Rochester Police Department, right? And what we need to do is make sure that that money's being spent well.
You said over the last 10 years.
That's right.
All right. I just want to make sure that people are understanding the.
Right. No. The
data that we're
Rochester
putting out
Police
there.
Department's budget very, very clear is about $100 million a year plus another 50 for benefits, et cetera. Okay. So, but that's the basic thing is that for government to be effective, it's got to be transparent and it's got to be held accountable to the people who it's supposed to be serving. Right.
Agree.
And for a long time, police departments, they're the heart of local government. Rochester, the plurality of people who work for city government work for the police department. About 30% of employees work for the police department. The police department on average has the highest paid employees, and they do the most important work in the city of keeping people safe, right?
True.
Police accountability board is just making sure that the police department does its job. And that's what I want to be really clear on. People, when they hear about PAB, police accountability, what comes into your mind is the police officer you know and trust, right? And you trust that person, you grew up with them, you're friends with them, you're family with them, and you know that they're doing the right thing. They're in it for the right reasons, right?
That's not what they're thinking.
No. I think that's what a lot of people do.
No, they're thinking because they're thinking that you're going to police them more than they're going to police the
Right. But here's the thing: is police accountability is about institutional accountability, system accountability,
Mhm.
right?
Okay.
Because we were just talking earlier about how the whole issue with President Obama, it's the system around him that sets him up to make these bad decisions, right?
And he's a bitch, but that's a topic for another day.
So really what the Police Accountability Board is here to do is improve this system, help keep everybody safer, including police officers themselves. I'm happy to talk more about why that isn't in the first case, but it's about basic accountability. And I would hope, and this is why I really want to come on the show, because I know a lot of your viewers are skeptics of big government.
Austin, especially.
Right.
I'm skeptic as well.
And if we are, we don't have to hate government. We don't have to whatever. We can like government officials, but we have to keep that skeptical eye on all parts of government, including the part of government that's most important in our lives, local government.
Can you agree with that?
No, because
Hold on. With the premise, you have to agree with the premise, right?
No, because that's what
So you believe in government and spending whatever they want.
No, not at all.
Okay.
What I
Because the premise was really good.
No, I believe in proper information within the hands of the public will decide what the fuck the government does.
Mm.
Because at the end of the day, if we don't have proper information, if propaganda is distorting the fucking minds of the people, the masses, then how are you going to make a conscious decision on where to put your vote?
Okay.
Absolutely.
Right. So we start there. Then when it comes down to accountability, well, we got the judicial system there for a fucking reason. So you want more bureaucracy within a judicial system that already has cops getting off with murder, already have murderers getting off with murder.
Mhm.
So you're going to add more accountability to a convoluted system where at the end of the day, if you have a good judge, a good jury, and two fucking lawyers that's talking about facts, then the fate of whoever's in question, it all depends on the judicial system and the balance of life and the pursuit of, and the right to pursuit of happiness. That's what the Constitution is for. But when you start adding motherfuckers with different opinions, and just because of their backgrounds, just because you may come from a different sort of background can add your opinion to the situation, then how are you solving any problem? Right. But how are you solving any problems? Because everything in life is a case-by-case situation. I don't want more motherfuckers in my business that don't have any real, information. Right. No,
Yep, they're not
exactly.
invested in it.
Understanding.
And just within the Police Accountability Board, right? I totally understand the premise of what it's supposed to do.
75% of the city voted in favor of it.
Because
right?
well, again, you got a lot of stupid motherfuckers making decisions on shit they don't know about.
How many people actually knew what it was and didn't just agree? Yeah, because police accountability, that sounds
That
I agree.
sounds
I
good.
agree.
Exactly.
I
So
agree.
so what my point is, let's say that you are the individual that is relying on justice to be fucking served, and you have differences of opinions that's interjecting in situations before the legal system runs its fucking course. It is why we have it in this country. It is the most precious thing in the world.
So you think they're interjecting in the middle of
let
the judicial system?
let it be, because at the end of the day, and I only speak of this as off of experience, no matter how cut and dry the evidence is, the bad guys can get off. And it all depends on public opinion and information. And if that information is not handled delicately, you can really fuck up a whole situation.
Yep.
Because let's say the Police Accountability Board interjects in a situation where a police officer is in fact 100% guilty, and they cause an influence that has that officer, that gives that officer leverage to file a any type of fucking retrial, and they get off because of now you got a whole nother
Because of
problem.
a good lawyer?
That's right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right.
And there has been. Would you agree there has been police officers that have gotten away with, I wouldn't say murder.
I don't give
But-
a bad cop is a fucking bad cop. There's a lot of listen.
So
there's a
wouldn't
lot
you
of
agree that there
dickhead
should
cops
be
out
a
there.
PAB then in order to handle that? Or
I
no?
disagree.
Well,
No, I disagree.
But I didn't want to agree with two big things
Okay.
that you just said. The first is having people who don't know what they're talking about, judging people who do is awful. I mean, look,
That was my problem as well.
no, seriously. No, I mean, no disrespect, Jose, because I think city council does a fairly good job. But if
You
look-
do?
Mediocre job.
hold on,
Mediocre
hold on.
job.
I think no, I really do think that the current city council, you got good leadership, good people.
We got to give
excited
them
to see where they
time.
go, But
We got to give them time.
we got to give them time. But look, I've watched a lot of different city boards, not just in Rochester, but in other places operate. You know, volunteers doing this, investing a couple hours a week, and watching those boards operate. If I'm a police officer and I look at that and I think that's what's going to judge me,
Right.
I'd be scared shitless too. No, I would, right? I'd be like, what the fuck? No. So first, I want to acknowledge that, and that's part of why my job.
I want to acknowledge he said, "What the fuck."
All right.
Your handler's gonna be
Uh-oh.
upset about that one.
I'm gonna be walking
He's
out.
loose. That water is getting into his
It's
system.
bad.
That bicycle water.
I'm gonna be walking out. There's like an American flag on my butt.
Yes,
whatever you guys
you're
do.
done.
It's
It's
gonna be bad.
over.
So that's the first thing I want to acknowledge. The second thing is, you're right. It's all about information. It
Mhm.
really is. It's all about information, right? And you were just talking about how many people, knew what they were doing when they were voting for PAB. Fair question. How many people know what they're doing when they're voting for any politician?
Jose Pio, right?
Four.
They have no idea
No,
what
I'm
they're doing.
serious. No, I'm serious. I'm serious.
Yeah.
Now, now you can either say, you know what, that's just the way politics is.
Mhm.
We're kind of all doomed. Everyone's ignorant, blah, blah, blah. Or you can think, what's a better way of informing people about what their government's doing and what needs to happen when it comes to public safety? That is the core mission of PAB. That's the core mission of PAB, is getting the facts out. Now here's the thing. Right now, there was all this debate about PAB, about whether or not we had disciplinary powers, whether or not we can actually discipline officers when there's wrongdoing. Right now, we don't have that power. What we're still doing is conducting investigations. And
Are
getting-
you?
Yeah, I mean, that's what we're set up to do in a couple
Okay.
months.
So not yet.
Not yet.
Okay.
What we're set up
So
to
I'm
do
getting
is
into that.
make recommendations to the chief about what should happen regarding discipline, and make recommendations to the city council about policies that need to change. Okay. That's about getting information out. That's about educating people. Because here's the thing. I really do think this is part of the reason why I'll show up and talk to Stanley Martin. I'll show up and talk to you. I think that there's consensus. I think there is common ground. I know that's a crazy thing to think in our current polarized political climate, whatever.
I don't think so.
I think that we got to come to some shared values, shared conclusions by looking at data. One of those things is, I promise you, if you did a survey of Rochesterians, particularly Rochesterians in poor neighborhoods, black and brown neighborhoods, and you ask them, do you need more police services or less? They'd say they need more. They need more police, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why defund the police was such a load of garbage.
Yeah.
We can talk about the strategies around that idea, but no. But what I want to say is that if you don't take that into account, and you don't look underneath that, if you don't trust people when they're saying, I need more, and what they're saying is, I need to be kept safe. I need more safety.
Right.
I need more government services. I need that. If you disregard that, you're not going to come up with effective solutions, right? You're not going to. And so that's what PAB has to do, is look at the facts. What do our people actually want? And how can we make sure that the government's doing what they want?
Okay.
How do we find motherfuckers with that level of intelligence that we trust?
Well,
Like,
let's talk about, because he went to what, RIT, you said, right?
U of R.
U of R, my bad.
Yeah, but
Pick a
again,
college in
for
Rochester.
every one of you, there's like 5 other motherfuckers that just want no police, right? Like,
No, I don't think so. But
Yeah, I don't think
you
so
did
either.
go to the
I'm just
celebration
saying,
party
not
where
not
they
in
did
that sense,
say, but I don't think you knew that was going to
No,
happen.
and I'll tell you why I went. I went because
They still have no idea what we're talking about, though. I have to bring it up.
No. It's all good. So there was this working families party on election night.
Stanley Martin.
Had a
I had to make sure.
and
And
the
Kim
working-
Smith, right?
Yeah, Kim Smith. All
Wait.
the people on the working families party ticket.
we're talking about the dude, right?
No.
Oh, okay.
Continue.
Keep going.
They held a celebration party, and I went in part because and this might be shocking to
Because
hear.
you hate the police.
No, but because no, because the activists in Rochester, many of the activists in Rochester, don't trust me. Now I know that might sound crazy. Why wouldn't everyone just trust the PAB? Lots of people look at
No,
me.
that's not what I was thinking at all.
No, but lots of people look at me and think, hey, I'm the system. I'm just another part of government that's going to fail people, right? And I'm not actually committed to real change. I'm serious. So I have to go because People on that side do not trust me. They think that it's a just basic, band-aid on the system that exists. We need to tear it down, et cetera, et cetera. And I'm just a band-aid. People on the other side think I'm here to blow up the cops and like I'm here to destroy all of that. It's funny to me, right? But what I have to do, if we're going to have any kind of real lasting change, is help build some bridges. And I know lots of people in this community talk about that. But my job is actually to sit down with people, listen, and figure out how we can come together. And here's a concrete example of that. After that get together, I made one connection with someone at that party. I got coffee with him. And I said, because they were one of the people at this party. I did not do this. One of the people at this party who chanted something like F the police. Okay.
F12.
Right. F12. I sat down with them afterwards. I said, when you say that, do you actually mean, what do you mean by that? And said, well, screw the officers who are hurting the people that I care about, blah, blah, blah. I said, look, when you say that, do you mean F officers like Moses Robinson? And everybody doesn't know Moses Robinson is one of the most beloved police officers out there in the city, right? And what they said to me was, no, of course not. And Moses knows I'm not talking about him. Right? Moses knows I'm not talking about him.
Yeah, Moses know nobody be saying shit to him. Right. Nobody can't say shit to Moses.
Right. And what I said is, do you actually think Moses believes that you are making an exemption for him in your head, right? But the reality is when you sit down and talk to that person, even though they might be saying F the police, defund the police, abolish the police, they actually want to be kept safe in some way, right? Now they're going to have different ideas about whatever, but I know that they actually care about Moses Robinson, look up to him and respect him.
Mm-hmm.
That's a place where some common ground we can move forward on, right? But I got to be able to have conversations with people like that, just like I got to be able to have conversations with people who deeply disagree with me on all sorts of things here, right?
Are you saying me? Are you looking at me?
I'm looking at anybody. Every single one of us has disagreements.
But that's society. I think that's the way they set this shit up
It's
to
true.
where
it's always either or.
right.
True.
And
they try and divide us on one issue.
On one issue, exactly. Right? And when you sit down and have a conversation with somebody, you find out like, oh shit. Well, I mean, I'm not saying all cops is bad,
right?
Because at the end of the day, when something happens to your ass and you get jacked just by getting your damn mail by some dumbass 17-year-old. Right, you're gonna call the cops. This is bottom line, period. So when we have these conversations, and it has to be some level of responsibility in each community because we already, everybody's community separate, whatever. And I'm just gonna speak as far as towards the African American community, the Black community. When we talk about police, we have to recognize that we also have family members who are a part of that system that we're trying to dismantle. So we all know that every cop isn't bad, just like we know everybody in our community is not good. And the people that in our community that's not good are the reason why dumbass dickhead cops do the shit that they do. Because if they see that we don't value ourselves, we don't value our community, they don't give a damn about us. I will never say every cop is good. I will never, ever, ever look to not hold a punk ass, nasty ass, dickhead cop that's a dick. If you're a dick cop, you don't need to hold that badge because that's not your job. You're supposed to be a fucking hero, period. If Captain America come to save me and he wants to just hit me in the head first with the shield, say, fuck you, I'm about to go. You know what I'm saying? Like, yo, fuck Captain America. You know what I mean?
You can't say fuck Captain America.
If he just hits me for no reason.
That's the line on this show. That's the line on your show. You cannot disrespect Captain America.
You know what I mean? So it works both ways. It's a humanity issue. I think we definitely have to look at each other and really look at the words that Martin Luther King says. If we're gonna value each other, we have to value each other. Period. No grudges. Fuck that shit.
Yeah. But tough question I have to ask because when I found out that you were the pick for the PAB,
yes,
I was like, this white boy with a mustache.
I want to know how you worked your way in,
right?
Man.
How?
I need a job, motherfucker. What you
always
do?
the question. It's always
How?
the question.
Because a lot of people saw that as, I shouldn't say a lot of people, because obviously not a lot of people. There were some people that saw it as the white boy got it again. Like he got the executive director.
Are you talking about the city of Rochester government positions that the white boy got it again?
It's not city.
Have you
looked
looked
the city of
at-
Rochester?
Yeah, but we're in the city of Rochester.
We are.
Look at your constituents.
Oh, they're 90% black.
Not mine.
Oh, not no more.
Not
They
in
kind of
Northwest.
they lightened up a little bit.
You know what I'm talking about?
Lighten up.
Profiling. How many fit our guest profile?
They lightened
Oh,
up
not
a
very
bit.
much. Yeah. No, the city of Rochester has become more minority based.
You want to know what it was? I'll tell you what it was. It was that Obama resume you had, man. These motherfuckers, they see Obama, they're like, man, he knows something.
Yeah,
He got that Obama in him. He got that Obama in his blood. He
Well-
saw Malia and Sasha.
Yeah.
He needs a
But-
job.
What was the reaction?
So, well, I mean, it was actually more than that. It was people looked at my face and they thought, man, with that mustache, we hired a guy that looks like a cop.
Yo.
You know, that's no, seriously. But
Quintessential cop.
I think people, I'll say people in the city have good reason to look at someone who leads a police accountability agency when, you know, incidents of police brutality overwhelmingly happen to black and brown people and think, why is a white guy leading the organization? And I think they chose me for a couple reasons. You can ask the board why. You know, I report to the police accountability board, the 9 community members who actually lead the agency.
Mhm.
They chose me for a couple reasons. First, like I really care about this work for a couple of reasons. So, you know, I grew up in Brighton. You know, that's Brighton Police patrolled that area, and I had the best experiences possible with police. Like I grew up trusting, caring, calling. You know, when our house got robbed or whatever, like they were there and super helpful and great. I never was
Because they ain't got shit to do out there.
No, it's no. It's true. It's true. It's true. Policing is completely different in the suburbs. But I also had I had a number of family and friends, and I'm talking like cousins and like really close friends who are dead because of interactions with the police that should never have happened or didn't happen right. Right? Seriously. And I know how much pain that can cause. I know how much, like, you can ask my aunts, you can ask my friends, you can ask my church members what it's like to give a eulogy for somebody who's dead because some government official did something messed up. And yeah, so when I saw this opportunity to do the work, my resume, like I'm a lawyer and I used to teach law about building government agencies, holding local government responsible. We were talking a little bit. I really wanted to talk about housing in the suburbs because that's also big government in the suburbs.
Bro, I already went through this earlier. I messaged you about it.
Yeah, it's
About
bad.
that what's his name? I was selling that book.
Oh God! these
Don't get him started.
opportunist
Don't get him started.
motherfuckers.
Continue.
No,
because we're gonna go to another 10-minute
but-
interval of
Look, part of why I sold myself to the board is I see both sides of this police equation, right? All officers are humans. The vast majority of officers who sign up to do the job want to do it because they protect people, because they care about people. And when I see things like shootings and deaths happen, I see systemic government failure behind it, lack of good training, lack of good policies. And a lot of the times, the debate, part of the reason I joined the job, I wanted the job was so many times in this debate, you got two sides. One side that says, let's say in the context of that Open Door Mission shooting, I don't know if you folks remember that one, homeless man,
the guy with the knife.
guy with a knife. What I heard, a lot of us heard, was two responses to that. The first was the cop is Satan and he needs to be fired, jailed, prosecuted, killed, whatever.
Right.
And then you got this other side that will say, and that side comes from a perspective, the side I talked about comes from a perspective of oftentimes seeing cops be brutal throughout your life on media, in person, whatever. And so you can see why people aren't given the benefit of the doubt. You can understand it. The other side will say, you don't understand what officers go through. That officer had to do what they did. You can't shoot in. You can't shoot to maim. You have to shoot at the center of mass. This kind of stuff. And you don't understand the danger that officer was in. They had to do that. And to criticize what happened is to disrespect officers and undermine their ability to serve the community. Those are the two common responses. And what those two common responses miss is the fact that it's government policy and procedure, powerful people in the city of Rochester determining how that situation happens, whether or not mental health people are being called in, what's the training around beanbag rounds, less than lethal force, what is the responsibility of government to that unhoused person if they're getting picked up by cops 3 or 4 times, why isn't there some kind of intervention there? There's so many things there that aren't the responsibility of the little government employee or the person who lost their life. It's the responsibility of a supervisor, and they get away scot-free. Government officials get away scot-free when tragedies like this happen. I use the word tragedy on purpose because, yes, that death, tragedy for the man who was killed, tragedy to his family, also tragedy for the officer who has to spend the rest of their life knowing they killed somebody. And if the government doesn't do everything in its power to prevent that kind of tragedy from happening, we are truly undermining not just the lives of people in our community, but the lives of police officers.
I totally motherfucking disagree.
Oh, okay.
Because
Explain.
when it comes with everything you just said, it is definitely not the fucking government's job. It's the fucking Constitution, the law. This is why they're separated. When you got the government putting their 2 cents in as far as situations like that and thinking they can interject and either, number one, prevent something like that, because at the end of the day, you're dealing with 2 humans. And our Constitution is literally, in a sense, it is created based off of with the eternal connection to, God, right? It like, let's be honest. Okay, so you're innocent until proven guilty. At the end of the day, these 2, regardless of their situation, regardless of the badge or the homeless person that is mentally ill, the truth of what fucking happened is what is the most important part. Not some government interjection, not some biased opinion about how they interpret the facts are. It's about what happened. It's the facts that happened. So if that police officer violated in any way, shape, or form his proper procedures of subduing anybody who has a knife, because again, we could play Monday morning quarterback all day, what we should have, could have, would have done, but we're not in that situation. So what that cop did is what that cop did. So within
What he was trained to do.
What he was trained to do. So within the parameters of the law, if that cop stepped outside of that, he should be held accountable, right?
But if he didn't, he just followed the rules. And he shouldn't be punished for it.
Right. If he shouldn't be punished, he shouldn't be punished for it. But at the end of the day, we have to let that shit be.
But there's a couple of things that went wrong there. I don't want to cut you off there. Was there still something more?
Well, yeah, because
Continue.
again, I'm more of protecting the overall sanctity of law and order, right? And it has to be decided within the courts, within your peers, and also the judge, and the facts have to be brought to the table. And I only say that just based off of my own personal experience. Again, it wasn't with police officers, it's just with private citizens, killing loved ones. Okay, the facts has to be brought to the table, and not every single time, like we think, if you kill someone, you're going to serve the time. That's not true. That's not true. Even if there's so much facts on the table, there are murderers walking the streets free. So I am more into preserving that aspect of law and order and keeping the outside opinions away from the true facts, because the media get involved, they'll fuck shit up. Government gets involved, they'll fuck shit up. And at the end of the day, the victims are the families who's sitting there with no answers, no true answers, and no real solutions.
Yeah. So coming from military mindset, we're not trained to think at all. Actually, our drill sergeants told us, you're not paid to think, you're paid to act, right? And our police are very similarly trained, where they're not trained to think. You're trained to say, this is what I do when this happens, right? So in that situation right there, this police officer didn't have any other choice, because he didn't have a shotgun that had a beanbag in it.
That's right.
He called it in though, right? He called it in saying, I need someone here with that beanbag or something to be non-lethal. My problem with the entire situation was our police, every single police vehicle should be outfitted with something that provides an alternative means to stop someone like that man with an alternative option.
Yes.
Absolutely.
To prevent another shooting.
And it's not on the individual officer to do that.
Right.
It's not.
Right.
That's right. It's not.
That's conversation.
That's conversation.
That's common ground.
That's common ground.
Right. So now you have a cop that's literally getting fucked up. Right, he's feeding his family. This guy could be a really good police officer, someone we need on the streets.
But the social media is going to destroy him.
Social media is fucking dumb as hell, and this guy is out there every day risking his life, and to possibly not come home to his family.
Right.
So is that something the Police Accountability Board they champion this guy?
So here's what would happen. because we were talking earlier
Yeah,
about
talk about the steps of what would happen in
so
that case.
and again, I don't want to talk about this case specific, but
No.
a case like it.
Case like it, yeah.
Right.
So PAB is supposed to do a couple things. First, we're supposed to investigate to see if there was misconduct, if the officer broke the rules. Okay.
The rules as outlined in their training.
Yeah, right. You have to
Okay.
see, are they following the policy procedures, everything?
Yeah.
Did they break those rules?
Not like social policies and procedures, but
Right.
actual
Well, actually, right,
policies
right,
and
right.
procedures.
So we're supposed to look at that, but you were talking earlier about, what if the PAB, releases improper facts that, and this is something that Mike Mazzio, the head of the Locust Club, will talk about all the time, worrying about selective facts getting out there before we can finish the investigation. I really care about that too. So PAB's job is to go in, start looking at the facts and tell people, because there's going to be a lot of pressure on us to start releasing this and that, just randomly.
What's pressure on you? Because you're the only one with a fucking law degree.
No, now hold on. I want to talk more about the staffing in a bit, because I think you'll get a little bit of faith when I talk about who we've hired.
You're the only one with a law degree.
Well, we're going to get into the budget.
We're going to get into the budget. We're gonna get into that. But I did hire lawyers. But no, I'm serious.
But that's a slippery slope, motherfucker. Because I will say this: just because you're a lawyer, you got another lawyer that'll want to eat your ass up.
Don't trust lawyers. If I'm here to say one thing, don't trust. But you were asking about what happens in this situation. We have to have an investigator, someone who's not a police officer. I'll tell you why. Look into the facts. Look at everything. Study the policies and procedures. Interview the people. See from all perspectives. And before you even start the investigation, get trained to understand what it is that police actually do and what they go through. Understand the danger they face. Understand what their lives are like. How isolating it can be to be on that beat shift, not have anyone else.
Second shift in a row.
Yeah, right. Stress, all this stuff. Understand the full perspective of policing. Then come in. Look at the facts, prepare a report, and say what actually happened. It's about the facts. And then recommend, if they did break the rules, recommend consequences that aren't not just there to vengeance, beat up on the officer, but how to restore the harm and transform the situation to make sure it doesn't happen again, which usually happen by training, maybe reassignment if we don't think the officer can do the right thing in a certain situation, maybe recommending something like that, letter of reprimand, progressive discipline to try and work with someone. In the absolute worst case, where an officer just is completely clear that there's too much danger by letting this person stick around, recommending termination. But I don't want to do that, because if I, as an employer, someone has to deal with the discipline for my people, I don't want to terminate people. That's a waste.
Man, you got a good job, man.
So that's the recommendation there. But if we find that the officer did everything right, but it still feels wrong and it looks wrong, as it often does in these situations, what do we say? We need to recommend a policy or procedure change, because that's the root of the problem.
So yeah, that's where I have the problem, because we had Daniel Prude.
Talk to me. Yep.
Right. So
Mhm.
Daniel
2 years.
Prude came out of nowhere.
Anniversaries.
Today.
Yeah.
Today, 2 years
Oh,
ago.
is it?
Oh, we about to have some
Jeez.
motherfucking protests tomorrow.
Jeez.
Enjoy it, yeah.
So Daniel Prude came out of nowhere on drugs, with drugs, yada, yada, yada. I feel as though the medical system failed him. Was let back out after he was caught, brought into U of R, strong, whatever. They said, you know what? We don't have any room for him, really. He's off of drugs. He's sobered up. Get out of here. Ended up getting back on drugs. Went out there and acted crazy. Right at the beginning of freaking COVID. Like right when we didn't know what the hell was going on.
Butt ass naked on Jefferson and
Butt naked, breaking windows,
snowstorm.
busting down, and then the police finally call out to him and like, yo, we're gonna have to subdue you. Put on this mask, because he was spitting on him during COVID again, where we didn't know what the heck COVID was.
Telling everybody he had COVID.
Right. And he did say he had COVID. Right. Put on a mask that was, if outside of any other predicament, it's a mesh mask. It's like a bank robber putting on a freaking pantyhose. Like you can see it a little bit. And it ended up dying in the hands of RPD. I didn't say not at the hands of, but in the hands of RPD.
I thought it was U of R. I thought it was U of R when he passed. He was exasperated.
No, they did the autopsy.
Oh, okay. So
The autopsy said that
He was there? Okay.
it was because they had that on him. But he was,
okay.
from what I know from my medical degree, like Bill Gates, regurgitated, and then he choked on his own vomit, and that's what happened.
Asphyxiation.
Right,
Yes.
asphyxiation. But that turned into we can't use this anymore. We can't use this spit mask anymore. And to me, I'm like, well, that's the people who are not trained at all speaking up and stopping the trained personnel from being able to protect themselves from a dangerous disease that we're saying is an epidemic, and they're about to bring it home to their families, and we don't know what the hell is going on. That was like a very basic, we can do this, but that got taken away. So to me, I don't like the fact that civilians are getting involved with changing the policies and procedures of a police force without having police recommendation to come in and say, that may not be a good idea because this is why. And that's why whenever we had PAB meetings and I showed up to it and I said, look, from a military perspective, if someone were to come into the military and said that I made the wrong decision in a moment of heat, in a moment of battle, in a moment of this, that, and the other, I'm going to say to them, who the hell are you? Like, you would never be found in that situation. You would never be in that situation that I had to be in, where I had to make a split-second decision, where I had to decide something that affected someone else's life. So that's, I think, I don't have a problem with PAB because I don't think anyone should have a problem with accountability.
Right.
What I do have a problem is with civilians coming in without any other police support, backup, retired police come in and say, this is why we do it.
Yep.
So is that a factor at all?
Oh, absolutely. Look,
Okay.
we, we're talking about some of that money. And we spent money to retain former RPD officers to train our staff on policies, procedures, and most importantly, culture.
Why don't you just hire one of them instead of training
Well,
everybody?
so here's the thing: is that the community spoke very clearly about they want PAB staffed and operated by non-police officers, and I want to talk about why. Go back to that. I was talking about what PAB does in terms of investigations. When the PAB comes out and says, we looked into this and the officer didn't, they followed the rules, they didn't do anything wrong, that's a powerful tool for creating community trust in the police.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Well, I will say,
Yes.
I'll let you finish because I'm kind of relating this to like when I'm watching a football game, right? And they go to the booth and it's clear that this motherfucker stepped on the line and y'all come through. It's like, no.
No, absolutely.
Right.
I
No, but
agree.
he's not saying that they're going to gaslight people.
No, but that's what I'm saying. If we do our jobs poorly, it will hurt the situation rather than doing well, which is why my job's so important to make sure. That's why we've taken so long hiring people, doing the rules right.
You have taken a long time.
But but can you make that guarantee for the next though? Like you can say the founding fathers of the PAB, right? You motherfuckers can do it all right, and you're 30, so you can retire at this position, obviously, because it's you're lucky.
Yeah.
So the next though,
Yes.
will they be able? Like, will they have that same?
It's a phenomenal
ability?
question, right? And that's why I'm so focused on structure. Right, going back to that President Obama situation, best, brightest, smartest guy still screwed up because the system on him was broken. My job isn't just to hire the people and whatever, but create the rules, procedures, bake that culture in so that whoever replaces me and comes next has to do the same approach, same fair, open-minded approach on this stuff.
Power.
It is, but it's like every single staff I hire, I'm so focused on education because they have to understand as much as possible what it's like to be a cop. They have to. They got to be reading police. I've spent the last year just reading police officer.
But reading is not actually.
It's not. You can never fully step into the shoes of an officer. Period. But as government officials,
you could.
Well, I could be a cop. It's true.
Go get that gun.
But
Have you done ride-alongs?
So we have been asking for ride-alongs for a year. First, the police department said they couldn't do it because of COVID. Second, they said we couldn't do it because of manpower. And I know that
they don't like y'all. That's what it is. They don't like.
Now, they is a strong word because honestly,
The
best relation, the most important relationships I have are with officers. Seriously, because it gets back to the idea of you can't manage a problem effectively unless you understand the people closest to it. Seriously. So those relationships with officers are important. And we can talk about why I can't hire officers. But right now, it's not like I can't hire officers. I can't have people who have immediate family members who are police officers.
Right.
And I think that's wrong.
That is wrong.
Which is why this Thursday I'm recommending to the Police Accountability Board that they send to council a proposed law to remove that restriction from the city charter, because I have people I want to hire who have relationships that I've looked at closely. It's not a conflict of interest. It actually brings important experience to my agency. And that's why partially why I'm here, Jose, is to hope that you will vote in favor of this change to the charter.
Put you on the motherfucking spot today, didn't you?
Well, explain the controversy of not being able to hire who you want to hire with the city council, right? Because there's some conflict.
Wait, I don't think it was who you wanted to hire. Is at what cost?
No, it's literally
Explain to an outsider what's going on. Why is there a gridlock here?
It was written into the charter when the law was passed. There was there was this line in there. I spoke to the drafters of the law. They don't know how it got in there or whatever. But
Because a lawyer.
No. Yeah, but it's weird. Like I can have immediate. It's weird. It's just that like, and imagine I have someone that works for me and suddenly their brother becomes a cop and I have to fire them. That's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. We got to get that out of the charter. It doesn't.
We were supposed to be able to approve. I believe that's what it was. We were supposed to be able to approve who you were hiring.
And you want to be independent.
Oh,
of-
okay. I'm
to
sorry.
be
This
independent.
is a different question. Okay, so the idea of city council relationship, the charter says that I have the authority to hire and supervise staff. It was never a question. I think under the old administration, I'll be generous, there may have been some misunderstandings or something, but we did get that cleared up, and it's very clear now that I'm the hiring authority. Look,
Very clear now. I'm the
Look,
man.
look.
I'm cashing them checks, bitches.
I want to say, no. Look, here's the thing. I think it's deeply ironic that I'm a government official, and
The same person you're talking about.
I know holding
Yeah.
government accountable. It's funny, and being inside the system. Oh my god,
Isn't it worse? Isn't it worse than what you thought?
It is worse than I
Yeah,
thought.
I tell
It's
people all
worse
the
than I
time.
thought.
It's fucking.
It's worse. Whatever you think it is, it's worse.
Yeah,
You don't want
it's,
that
it's,
shit.
it's bad.
Yeah.
Which is why it's incumbent on me. I can't hold the police department accountable unless PAB is accountable, unless we're transparent, unless we're doing what the people want, right? And
Because
so-
then Mike Banzi was
But
going to come
that,
after you.
is that a good thing though all the time? Because I'm
What,
not
transparency?
no, not transparency, but give the people like the people that's asking for the police accountability board. They weren't the people that is being.
They're the ones that want
ones-
to abolish police.
No, but I'm saying the people that represented the push to have the police accountability board were not there. If it's minorities, the ones that are the most affected by mishandling by the police, no fucking body was there pushing this shit through the city council meetings because I was there for
Right,
every single last one
It
of
was
them.
a vote. So
It was
the
a vote.
demographics. You have demographic breakdown of.
So I
didn't
looked. We don't have the demographic breakdown for the voters
because it was on the back of the ballot.
it was on the back.
And
of the
how many
ballot.
people actually look at the back of the ballot? White people.
White people, and but even more than anything,
That's
just
racist.
to go back in the beginning to where a lot of these laws and rules that you want to change.
Yeah.
The founding fathers of the police accountability board were Adam McFadden, Malik Evans, former president Loretta, right?
Scott.
Michael
Patterson.
Patterson, right? And they would hold these. They
Mary
would hold
Lupien?
these. She wasn't there.
She wasn't a.
Nah, she wasn't there.
Okay.
And it would have been worse. But they would have weekly meetings with the community,
Mhm.
right? At some of the local rec centers. And it was like at the most, maybe 15 to 20 people at most that participated to give their 2 cents as far as what they wanted from the police accountability board.
Yeah.
What I saw from the elected city council members is motherfuckers standing there just really going through the motions, knowing they knew what the fuck they were going to do from the beginning. And I'm talking about McFadden, Evans, all these motherfuckers. I'm the fly on the wall. These motherfuckers don't even know I'm even existing at this point. Anyway, long story short, everything that we have that's in place were created by the people that represent them, but to push it through, you had so many fucking Woodstocky, like white
Birkenstock.
Yo, my God! When the city council hearings were going, they outnumbered RPD 2 to 3 to 1. And I'm like, yo, where are all these? I didn't even know there's many white people that lived in the city at that time. So how how does this shit represent the people that it's supposed to represent? And they're the ones asking for these changes, but yet they're not the ones that got it through to begin with.
That's a convoluted
Well,
question.
no, I'll answer. So I can't speak to the process of how it was created. I wasn't here for that. What I can say is that the law says that the board, the 9 people who are my bosses, they have to represent Rochester in its diversity in all different sorts of ways. And part of the reason
Except for thought.
part no actually
Can't be
part of the
thought.
part
Never.
no part of the reason that I signed up for this board to do this job is because I think the board that was appointed was the right people. They are people who have worked with the police and who have been policed at the same time. They see both perspectives, right? So, for example, the chair of the board, Shani Wilson, she's a PA who's often come into contact with officers. You know, someone gets shot, comes in, she deals with that stuff, right? So what is her biggest thing? What's her number one issue? Trauma-based approaches to officer mental health, right? That's the kind of thing you want in the leadership of PAB. People can see all perspectives and see how trauma that officers deal with hurts the people around them. So, and this gets to the bigger picture of what PAB can do. A month or two ago, RPD submitted a piece of legislation to City Council, $250,000
Mhm.
for an app
Mental health.
and some training around mental health. And it passed through because we should be figuring out the best ways to support officers. But how do we know that the investments that the police brass are making are actually going to help rank and file? If you look back over the last 50 years, you know, every 5 to 10 years, RPD rolls out some new officer mental health program that's supposed to solve all these problems, et cetera. How do we know why aren't those things still happening? Did they fail? What was wrong with those? And how can we be sure that the new investments, $250,000, is actually going to help officers keep officers safe?
Which is a drop in the bucket for our general budget.
Why
for
should we put
RPD.
all that emphasis? Why should we put all that responsibility on RPD? Because the fucking medical system is fucked up to begin with when it comes to mental health. So let's not throw the police under the bus in the beginning, because Daniel Prue shouldn't have been outside.
I
He shouldn't have been released. It starts there.
Oh, I agree. I mean, one of the old the RPD used to be nationally famous for their officer mental health program because it was a partnership with the U of R. The U of R had a special clinic for police health. What happened to that clinic? We can accountability is about identifying responsibility. And the sad thing about policing is we ask officers to do everything. And then we expect them to perform. They have to be a perfect social service worker. They have to be a perfect first responder. They have to be a perfect detective. All these different things at once. And then we're surprised when they mess up publicly.
And they get the job from taking a fucking test. While
Yes.
the medical professionals, right? The ones at the U of R, the ones at 1111 Elmwood Avenue, the mental health hospital. And again, I only say this off of experience because my brother had mental health issues and he died because of that, because he was the wrong place, wrong time, and someone took advantage of him, killed him. Wasn't a cop, a fucking resident, killed him with a fucking crowbar, okay? Killed him to death. You beat him to death, broad daylight, okay? Those situations, right? He went through the system. He was within the mental health system. People like him, for them to even get out to society, how did it get there? How did it get to that point where now just some old regular person's only getting paid $60,000 to $65,000 a year has to interact with this person where they don't even know what's wrong with him.
Yep.
They don't know why he's screaming out. They don't know this dude has just lost his mind.
Yep.
So for us, just the citizen, we see something happen with Daniel Prude, emotions is going to get the best of us. We're going to side with the victim and think that everything that happened was the officer's fault. And that's just on a humanity scale, humanity side of things for the police officers involved. And listen, if they did anything egregious, then let our systems find that out. But at the end of the day, you can, there's so many fucking fingers you can point out. The family itself, they called the police first. They called the cops on Daniel Prude, right? And again, they've probably been calling the cops on their loved one for years. It's mental health. Like, yo, people don't understand that mental health shit is some serious shit. And you can't just toss a Band-Aid on it and that's why the board came about. Like, they got a lot of momentum for that. And I think the Prude family was used by the media, by politicians, and also the police department. And that is the problem with the whole story with Daniel Prude that gets messed up is the mental health side of it. How the fuck did he get there to begin with? What were the mental health aids ever? He became a problem. I can understand he's a fucking big ass black man you can't control, right? It's a serious issue. You can't put that on the police department. You can't. I'm just sorry. That's just my take on the Daniel Prude situation. Mental health should not be on the police officer's responsibility. And Singletary said that. He's
But
like,
it
they
destroyed
wanted
our
more
city.
money.
It destroyed our
It
city
did,
for.
but how much more money are you gonna put towards something that's fucking like, what do you do? The medical field don't even know. And they get trillions of dollars to deal with mental health. So what do we do?
Well, I mean, you saw what the city did in the wake of Daniel Prude's death, and I'm not going to comment on the specifics of it for obvious reasons. But what I will say is, they created 211. They created the person in crisis team through 211. They created this new call system. So
Which came out of nowhere really quickly.
And here's again, the city of Rochester for the last 70 years, every 10, 15 years, it's a little bit longer period with this one, a mentally ill person, almost overwhelmingly a black person, gets shot by a police officer in the city. There's protests, and the city comes up with some new program, usually involves some combination of social workers and police officers going to the scene together. It's heralded as this big new thing, and then it doesn't get the resources it needs.
Well, we're saying mentally ill. The guy was a drug abuser.
I mean, we don't have to drug crisis. It's these are crisis response services. Okay. Why does government keep banging its head up against the wall and acting like it's doing something new and innovative? And how is there no accountability for the bigger picture, right? And if we just focus on that individual officer, we lose everything. So I couldn't agree more with this, but it's going to take a culture change. And that's what PAB is hopefully going to help us bring about.
Culture change for who, though?
For policymakers and for the community.
For humanity, yo.
You think you're going to change the mental health of Rochester?
I think that if PAB can identify responsibility in these cases consistently by locating it at the systems level, and
so not personal accountability.
No, I think you have to have both. We're all about personal accountability. When officers break the rules, we have to make people face consequences. That's basic.
Or when the citizens break the rules.
Right. But it's not my job to police that. It's not.
Right.
It's the police's job. It's law. Right. And I want to say, you were talking earlier about the criminal justice system being broken. I absolutely agree. Part of the reason why I'm into the PAB, and this is a separate discussion about whether or not we believe in policing or whatever, but we can all agree the criminal justice system is broken. And it's because we think that's the only option for justice, right? PAB is supposed to create another set of tools for people. Look, you got to prove beyond a reasonable doubt in court, and you get all these different protections, et cetera. And so even if odds are someone committed a crime, if you can't prove it beyond that reasonable doubt, they'll get away with it. Yep. And that's not just, that's not fair. But we've set that bar so high because sending someone to jail is tough and hard. And we only want to do it when we're absolutely certain there's wrongdoing. But what about the vast majority of cases where we know the guy did it, but we can't be 100% sure, but we know the guy did it?
O.J. Simpson.
Right? The PAB, this happens in the context of officers. Some officers, you can't, it's very hard to get, Derek Chauvin, that whole George Floyd prosecution is very rare. The vast majority of cases, we can see an officer maybe did something wrong, but they're not going to be criminally prosecuted for it. And they probably didn't cause enough damage to have a civil lawsuit. So people don't have any justice and they get angry about it. You see people crying for officers to get fired, for officers to, go to jail. That's the only justice that's available. But we got to get something else.
You're right. But again, we got to look at society as a whole because police officers aren't killing people as much as the overall That's in the inner cities, the population is killing each other. And just to kind of go back to accountability, right? Please. Especially when we're talking about mental health. Yes. Well, let's go back to the autistic kid that jumped in the river on the bridge, right? The city school district, I think, should be held accountable for that shit because they threw that young man's mental health issue under the bus.
Absolutely.
Right? So again, when we're talking about mental health, it's a lot broader than just that one situation.
It's not a city problem. So many people think it's a city problem.
No,
Monroe County Health Department. Right. Monroe County Health Department. That's where all the health comes from. Mental health, physical health.
Listen,
Monroe County Health Department, the New York State Health Department.
Yes.
It's not a city health department. We created.
And these motherfuckers know it. And again, they took this Daniel Prude situation as a way to make the police department a scapegoat from a growing problem that they fucking know. We can drive around the city and point out to every person on the corner that has a mental health issue. We all can. We can't take a 5-10 minute drive around the city and see someone like, yo, that person has mental health issues. We know that. Let me tell you about what happened with my brother. After he died, he was literally trying to apply to a state facility that will keep him safe, that will keep him bound to this facility, and they monitor him because he would leave the house. You know when he got that fucking letter that he was accepted? After he died. You want to know why he got rejected before? Because he didn't have the legible handwriting to write his fucking name on a piece of paper, so they rejected him until after he died. These are different stories that the city, the state, and the country don't talk about when we talk about mental health. So the reason why I'm so passionate about Daniel Prude is because there's a lot of finger pointing that can go on. Mm-hmm. But what came out of it was the Police Accountability Board, where they're only trying to hold one, like, again, any bad cop deserves to go to jail. They deserve to go to jail. But at the end of the day, you have to be very fucking careful, because within my brother's situation, a man that was 100% guilty only got 10 fucking years for killing my brother. Okay? So there's different stories that are still out there. If we want to attack mental health, let's not just try and throw a Band-Aid on it and say, oh, we solve mental health because we got a Police Accountability Board. I just want to make sure that gets out there.
And I want to completely agree. I want to completely agree with both what you said and you said. And I can't know exactly how you feel, but I know a little bit. When my cousin overdosed of heroin 5 years ago, and it was because he got hooked up with opioids, right? Mm-hmm. And when the cops came and they found his body, they called the family and they said, look, we're going to find the dealer who did this. And I remember thinking in that moment, like, I don't give a shit about the dealer. I give a fuck about the Sackler family and that company that pushed opioids to doctors, killed not just my cousin. If you grew up, I don't know if you grew up in Wayne, I'm sure you got things like I do. People die from that.
You bringing up a whole nother topic.
And but here's the thing. But here's the thing: is the only justice available to people. Punish the cop, or not punish the cop, punish the dealer, lock him up or something. That's going to be justice. That's not justice. That's not justice at all. And the people who constantly escape accountability, again, is the powerful banks, companies, pharmaceutical corporations, and
politicians,
we're all pitting against each other over this, because that's all. You're giving crumbs. You are giving crumbs. Right. Oh, go out here, get angry, and show up at court.
It's not me, it's them.
It's
they're taking away from you.
Right, and it's bullshit.
Thank you.
And so I couldn't agree more. We have
opened them up today, y'all.
We have to open this. This is what I'm
bullshit. That's what I'm talking about. Speak your truth, man.
Well, we've gone over 1/4 of everything that I meant to bring up tonight. Literally, I always delay after
you can have me back whenever.
That's fantastic. Yeah. I do want to make sure we go through the questions or the comments here to make sure that people feel like they're heard, because this is a fantastic podcast night for us, because it really is about bringing people together.
People love you in the comments about.
Yeah, well, when we have guests that actually can fucking can articulate a point and speak from a side that, you know what I mean, that we need just a little bit more elaboration. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? It makes for good conversation. And I appreciate the fact that you came in and just started opening up and dropping F-bombs from all your water you drank.
Wait, hold on, so the folks can see it, because he's talking about going on the.
Don't name drop nobody. I don't know.
Tour de France over here. It was an athletic event. I knew if I was going to show up talking to Jose for an hour.
Nah, man. Oh, wait, what? You got the poly? It got into the poly game? What did they say?
Wait. Who's CSP?
Let's go. What's that? Politics. I'm thinking.
I'm like, Jose, do we need to have a conversation?
What are we talking about?
Your ass better call somebody.
Jose got him on control.
There are many rumors about me out there, and now we got the poly.
That's what's up, man.
No, did you take a nap today?
I did earlier.
Oh, see, there you go, Tom.
I did.
There you go.
You know what got me?
He said you were calm.
I was. You know what got me excited was I always wanted to hear an insight of the Obama administration from someone from within the camp. You know what I mean? Just because for me, again, being black, everybody assumed that I'm just, I'm pro Obama. I thought Obama was whack, and I voted for him the first time. And the reason why I voted for him was because what he was speaking in the housing crisis, he was saying all the right things. He was saying exactly what he needed to say. And then he turned into the wolf sheep clothing, started bombing Syria, started bombing Libya. Libya's a fuckhole, bombing funerals and weddings, and you know what I mean? So there's a lot of tragedies from Obama, and you literally kept it real. So I have much respect, man.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
He said, duh.
Yeah. I mean, this is, I mean, I just, worshipped Obama growing up, and I still have respect for him, but like, I just lost all interest in like politics after that.
Isn't it terrible?
Like seeing all this stuff. No, but I mean,
but that's why that is literally why I run for politics, because I'm so tired of the BS.
We don't know how you're still around.
I don't know how I'm still around. They tried canceling me. It didn't work. It didn't work. But I appreciate you so much for coming on, because this is really what this podcast is all about, is just getting together, talking amongst men and women, whatever it may be, and just putting our truths out there, right? It really is. Look, stand up for yourself, stand for yourself, in your country, but yourself.
There's no such thing as my truth. There is no truth.
You got truth, man.
You got truth.
You went to school, motherfuckers driving in tractors.
Like John Deere.
That's a topic for another day,
That's too
Dan.
expensive.
That's too expensive.
Massive
They were drunk when they came to school. So I appreciate
Rolls Royce and tractors.
That's right. We got Jacobsons.
Oh my God.
3 people know what I'm talking
I
about.
have no idea what you're talking about. Austin's one of them. Well, I appreciate it so much. And during your time with, really talking about mental health stuff, if you ever come across Kanye West, let him know that I've been.
Yo,
asking
Patricia
him to
said
come on
one
this
of her
freaking
favorite
podcast.
podcasts. That's what I'm talking about, Patricia.
Patricia, no, seriously.
Let's
People
go.
were so upset that I was having you on tonight. And first of all, that doesn't bother me, because
No.
I don't care. I don't care what people think. I want to bring the truth forward so that people can see that we're all freaking human.
Yeah.
And we all have a background. We're all raised differently. We're all freaking created differently.
We're all racist.
Just a man
It's
motivated
true.
by compassion, right?
That's it. Just want to bring the truth out there. And that country, that flag, everything about it is what I stand for. And when we say we the people, I really mean we all, not us just in the middle, but we all, not just us in the right, not in the left. It doesn't matter. It's
Not
all
there,
of
them.
us. We're all there. We're all in this country. And we need to understand how to live together and think together and grow together and talk together and work together. There's been so much freaking division, so much of it. This is not the podcast where we continue on that talk of division. We bring people together for this one. So I really, really appreciate you coming on and speaking your truths. And man, I had a great time tonight. We changed the world.
You did? Jose, do we gotta wait till Christmas to get some more cocoa though?
I thought you were gonna say something completely different.
Between Polly,
I thought I was about to say we gotta wait till Christmas to get some hoes. Jose got all the hoes, y'all. He got all the hoes.
That's what happens when you're poly, I guess.
You done with John Leguizamo?
I still have hope for John Leguizamo coming on as well.
Yo,
but
Kanye getting canceled off the
He's not.
Grammys, kid.
what a bunch
Really?
of idiots.
Yo, that's
What a bunch of
crazy.
He doesn't pay attention to that. He's too busy running.
No, you're
the-
not. What
accountability
happened? You
board.
got a lot on your hands, man. You about to solve society issues, man.
We'll see.
So I appreciate you coming on. Let all your friends know to watch the episode, because they need to see that there are voices that can come together in some kind of commonality. And this is a fantastic night for everybody. I appreciate it very much.
Thanks for having me, Jose.
Thank you.
Cool.
Austin, play that funky music.
Ah.